welcome to Meet the Filmmakers. We are talking about the film Gadak, which is playing in our official selection competition program. The movie will have its world premiere here in Estonia. And with me is the director of the film, Rajat Kapoor. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
The movie is a tragicomedy about a group of friends who get together for a nice, lovely dinner party to celebrate the Festival of Lights, Diwali. All the while, there is a dead body in the next room. This is a dark comedy with a strong ensemble. Rajat, you're also the writer of the script. So could you, let's start from the beginning. How did this all start? What was the idea behind this story?
In fact, the idea started with the first scene. That a man comes home and says, I want to talk to you. Can I come in? And this guy says, who are you? I don't know you. Mm-hmm. He says, no, actually we know each other very well. And so he reveals what it is, and he comes in and he does something drastic. So that was the original idea, and I thought that was very exciting as an opening scene of the film. Mm-hmm. And then we thought, okay, it's the big festival and everybody is coming home. From there on, it was a question of finding these people, these slightly mad characters who inhabit the world of the film.
How long was the writing process? Was it?
Actually, I write very fast. I finish a draft in about 3 weeks. And then normally I show it to my friends, and normally they say it's very bad, don't make it, throw it away. And then with their feedback, I do another draft or maybe a third draft. But each draft doesn't take very long to write. Mm-hmm. But it's the period in between drafts that is long, and a lot of thinking goes there.
But how easy or difficult was it to get funding for the film to then make it?
Impossible. Oh. You know, it's my 7th film, and every film has been a big struggle. In fact, the film I made before this was 5 years back. So in these 5 years, I had written 5 scripts, and I'm constantly looking for money. It's really hard in India to make an indie film, mm-hmm. even though the film is appreciated by everybody who sees it, and by the awards and all that. It doesn't make the funding any easier. So yeah, this one went through a special difficulty because there was a producer who came in. He said, "Sir, I'm a big fan," and all that. And 15 days before the shooting, he says, "Okay, I can't do it."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, return my money for whatever reasons, which I still don't know what those reasons are. So we were in a jam, and then I thought, okay, we are so far ahead. Let's find a way to shoot the film and not stop now, you know.
Could you talk about casting? Because there's a lot of characters here, and they're all unique and like funny and, like you said, kind of weird in their own way. And you've worked a lot in theater. You're also a known actor yourself. So could you maybe talk about the casting process and finding those?
Well, we auditioned more or less everybody except the male protagonist that's played by Ranveer Shori. He's a very dear friend of mine. I've already done 3 films with him before, mm-hmm. Mixed Doubles and Mithya and Fatso, and he's been a protagonist in all these films. So yeah, I knew that main protagonist is this guy. Everybody else we auditioned and we found. Some of them are friends, some of them are very dear friends.
Had you worked with them before, some of them?
Almost all of them, in theatre or film. Some of them, no, not at all. Like Shruti, a couple of women I had not worked. There is a very dear friend, her name is Kalki Kaklin. She's of French origin, but born in India. So in fact, I asked her, I said, listen, I have this idea. I've written the script. You don't exist right now in the script. But if you say yes, then I will write this French woman who's just coming to the party and she can see things.
Yeah.
And she was very kind, and there was nothing written for her at that stage. She said, yeah, okay. And so then we wrote her in. So I work a lot like that. I work a lot with improvisation.
That's what I wanted to ask, if you also rehearsed with the cast beforehand, or even did you work on the script together, like during the shooting process? Did some of the dialogue change, or how was, because most of it takes place in one apartment.
Right.
So how was like managing all that with so many characters in a tight space?
So that was the unique challenge of the film, that it is in one space and it can get boring, or you might run out of ideas of how to shoot it. I mean, you've seen it, For the writing thing, Cyrus, who plays Yogesh, he worked with me a little bit. We improvised a lot. Otherwise, normally I don't like to rehearse a scene before we go to the shoot, because I think it's inorganic. For me, what is very important is what happens in the shooting space, and not what happens in a room like this before we go to shoot.
I find that interesting, though, because you come from a theater background as well, and
exactly,
there it's all about rehearsal.
Because that is very theatrical and not cinematic at all. And I really think the two media are very, very different from each other. And I also believe very strongly in the moment, in what happens in the moment. Also, I'll tell you, I've worked with the same cinematographer for over 20 years. We have shot all our films together. And we decided on our first film that we will never do a shot breakdown. I hate this idea of knowing what you're going to do. I think it's terrible. For me, I mean, it might work for somebody else. But for me, I find it very limiting. If I already know what I'm going to shoot and how I'm going to shoot it,
then why do I shoot it?
Then where is the joy of shooting it? Where is the joy of discovering at the moment? So I believe very strongly in things as they happen at this moment. So normally we get together and we know what scene we're shooting, and I ask all the actors first, how would you now play it? And then we try improvising. Then we start changing things. Then we start changing the lines. We start changing, and then we go with them how they want to move first. And then I might have an idea. Okay, maybe we can try it this way or that way. And then we arrive at something in 1.5 hours. And then we start saying, okay, now how do we want to shoot this?
All right. So there is a bit of a kind of a prep, or seeing where the scene will take you, and then completely. Filming it with the camera.
Completely.
Okay. I'm interested in the themes of the film, because there's, like I said, a lot of dark secrets that are like coming to the surface during the night, and I think it's such a fascinating idea of how well do we know our friends, and we're not just friends, but how well do we know the people closest to us, and also would we want to know everything, and what would that mean? So I'm just curious, like for you, why that kind of a, because it is a lot about secrets and resurfacing, and was there something that kind of had you been thinking about that, or?
No, like I said, when I was writing it. And the idea was to find these weird people, people who are obviously, we have a Diwali party at our home every year, and something similar happens. No dead bodies, but all the friends come, and this is and we gamble, and the chaos is similar. The chaos that you see in the film. I wanted to capture that, first of all. But in the writing, then you're seeing, okay, how can this develop? They're not bad people. All of them. None of them is a bad person, I think. They are grey. But I like them all. I love them all, They're very nice people in a way. They're selfish, yes. But that's human, I suppose, They're all selfish in their own ways. They want to, when they hear of a bad thing, they want to get out. Then there is no more friendship anymore. And yet they stay,
Do you think that, because not to give anything away, but there is like a lot of secrets coming to the surface, but then by the end of it, like this whole group is also bound by this one new secret.
Exactly. Exactly. They're bound together now. They could have chosen to walk away. They did try to walk away. For whatever reason, they did not. They could not. And now, So I don't know what will happen next week. I don't know if they'll call each other back or they will not take the call. I don't
I
know.
was thinking about that. Maybe,
Yeah.
well, with the guilt, or like, will they even be friends? Like, will there ever be another Diwali like this?
I hope there will be. But for me, essentially, the film is about marriage, if you must ask me. And I've done this earlier in a film called Mixed Doubles, which also had the subtitle A Moral Tale, which again reappears here. And that also, for me, is a film about marriage, which goes wrong, which can go wrong, and in the end, do they stay together or do they not stay together? What makes a marriage, really? What makes a relationship work? In this one, I don't know if they will stay together. But the fact is that they do come home together. They come back home, at least for that morning.
Yeah.
And then the song in the end, entitles, does talk about that.
If we talk about the editing of the film, the post-production, was that a difficult process because you have so many characters? Like,
Right,
how was it putting the movie together in the editing room?
Editing is the process I enjoy the most,
Oh.
and I love shooting, but editing is really, because you are rewriting the film, of course, but I also feel, and now I feel it very strongly after so many films, that everything else is a notion. Your script was a notion. When you were shooting it, it was still an idea in your head. When you come to the edit, it either becomes real or doesn't. And now there is no more notion. It is there. Either you feel the moment, either you experience the film, or you don't experience the film. So all these notions, all these ideas you had in your head, now you can actually test them, and then you start rearranging the things so that, because you had an idea that this is how emotion will flow. But now, when you sit at the editing table, you realize it's not flowing the way you imagine. So now you have to find another way to get that flow back.
Is it like with this movie? Is the script you wrote and the film we see on the screen, is it very different? Did it go through a lot of changes, or is
in
it
the edit?
Yeah, just like the idea you started with, the story you started with, and what we see now on screen.
There is, I think essentially it's there. Everything is there. But it has hopefully become more than what was intended. I hope everything one does becomes more than what you thought of. Otherwise, it's lifeless.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us. We are out of time. As I say, go and see Gadak, having its world premiere in Estonia. Thank you, and thank you, Rajat.
Thank you very much.